This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. The 32nd Hugh Campbell Basketball Classic is into day 2 over at the AF Adderley Gym, and that's where we find our Charles Fisher standing by with the very latest. Charles.
What an exciting end to session 1 of day number 2 here at the Hugh Campbell Basketball Tournament. The North Andrews Seminoles coming for as many as 10 down to beat the Bishop Michael Eldon Warriors 63-61. And that was not the only close game here in the first session. Also early today, South Andrews, they had Anatole Rogers on the ropes, but Anatole Rogers came out punching in the final couple of seconds to take that game 39-38. And in the first game today, it was C.R. Walker over Auckland's 46-20. For last night's action, let's head over now to the glamour girl of sports, our newest addition, Kelsey Johnson. She has all the action from last night.
Defending champions, the CC Sweden Cobras netted their first win of the tournament, but Coach Mario Bolag says more work is needed if they are going to go back to the championship.
I'm disappointed. We had 26 turnovers, and we didn't even get pressed. That's because we had 1 or 2 persons that were in school that we did not have on the GSSA roster, so we made a little adjustment to our roster, some guys being suspended and stuff like that. Also is the reason why we wouldn't have seen our best, because if you look at it, I said Mikey Badlow, who's your starting point guard out of this game because of not doing what he's supposed to do in school today. Then we had Jermaine Battle sit out, you had Adrian Thompson also sit out. So, when you look at it, you had 3 of your better players did not play this game, but despite that, the bench should have been able to put on a better performance that they did. It was the first game, but who knows, maybe it might be able to give confidence to the bench so that when the better players are there, we live and look better down the stretch.
In the 55-44 win over the Temple Christian Sons, the Cobras had 19 turnovers and connected on 8 of 15 free throws. The team got 17 points from Brayman Jones and 11 points from Antonio Monroe. Top scorer for the Suns was Dylan Musgrove, who closed with 19 points. The Suns attempted 31 free throws, but only netted 17. Their head coach Marcellus Hall said he believed his team could have won the game if they had connected on the free throws.
If we played in the first half the same intensity we played in the second half, we should have won this game. Like I said, you point on turnover, the free throws, that killed us. And then, of course, we just didn't capitalize on our opportunities when we had them. I feel that our team could have competed well today, but again, I think they came in a little bit nervous because they played CC Sweden, and it showed in that first half. The guys were a little tentative, but once they saw, hey, these guys are just like us, in that second half, Dylan got a little hot, and my point guard went down with a sprained ankle, but I still felt we were very, very much in the game. To only lose by 10 with that amount of turnovers, it shows me that if we settle down and play good basketball, we should go pretty well in our pool.
GSSA champs, the C.I. Gibson Rattlers, are off to a fast start, winning their opener by more than 53 points. The Rattlers got 9 points from Shaquan Lewis and John Lee Knoll, Shami Roll, in the 72-19 win over Aquinas. Dropping in the 10 points for the Aces was Kristen Martinez. Joining the Rattlers and the Cobras in the winner's circle were R.M. Bailey, Queens College, and Noble Preparatory. These schools will hit the hardwood again on Wednesday. Kelsey Johnson, ZNS Total Sports.
Thanks a lot, Kelsey. Well, this evening session, you thought the first session was a barn burner. This was what we have coming up for you later on this evening. R.M. Bailey and Anatole will be on the court in a few minutes. They just took a break to clear the gym and make sure everything is in tic-tac order. That will be followed by Agape taking on St. John's College, Jolly Green Giants. St. John's was not fully scheduled to be in this tournament. You know that the Anglican Festival is being held this week, but at the last minute they are a shoe-in because Telios, they were scheduled to play in this tournament. They have decided to go to North Long Island. That's where Julian Gibson is headed tomorrow. And then in the feature game here tonight, you don't want to miss it. If you're not doing anything, come on down to the AF Adderley Gym. The C.I. Gibson Rattlers, that's the government school champs, and they will be taking on the Comets of Queens College. They are the private school champ, so lots of action still to go here on day number 2 of the Hugh Campbell Basketball Tournament. And come tomorrow, they get an early start at 1 o'clock. That's when most of the Grand Bahama and Family Island teams will be in action. As for the number 1 team in the country, the Tabernacle Baptist Falcons, they'll hit the court at 2 o'clock. That's it for sports here at the AF Adderley Gym. Is back to you there in the studio, Johnny.
All right, thanks a lot. Now, like you just heard, the Hugh Campbell Classic, not the only high school basketball tournament going on this week. The North Long Island Invitational, that will tip off on Thursday. And after careful consideration, Coach Stephen Brown will be taking his senior boys down there. According to Coach Brown, the Hugh Campbell is not yet ready for a Family Island champion, and he explains why.
Family Islands can't draw the crowd they would really like to have. To me, Hugh Campbell is still all about Freeport, Nassau. And I'm a member of the Bahamas Basketball Federation, and I go with what the president is trying to do now to work with Family Islands, and I would prefer representing Family Islands to any tournament they have.
2014 is expected to be a busy year for the Bahamas Olympic Committee, but according to President Wellington Miller, they've already hit a huge stumbling block with the value-added tax system on the horizon.
When you look at baseball, basketball, softball, volleyball, soccer, and sloop sailing, they all are sponsored by various companies. And you know, if depends on how what will affect various company in the Bahamas, then I think sports might definitely be affected. So you know, we have sent a letter to the minister, to the government, asking them to meet with the sporting community to explain to us how what will affect sports in the country, and even the sponsors. We can invite the sponsors in with us to really get a face-on view. We would like to have government view first and how it affects us before we go outside and listen to all the other views. All the sports in the Bahamas, if they were to be taken out of, or sponsor was not to come on board, the sports will basically die. We sent this letter about a month ago asking for a meeting from the people from the Ministry of Finance, and so far we haven't received an answer yet.
Now, in addition to affecting sponsorship, Miller is also worried that VAT could hinder another key area.
On many occasions, our athletes, our international federations send us equipment also. And we would like to know whether that we have that same concession as we have now with the Ministry of Finance, you know, would allow us to have these equipments without paying a duty on them. So we want things like that to continue. And sports is a big part for the Bahamas. Sports does well for the Bahamas, and we're a big community, constituency in the Bahamas. So we need to have face-on information just like how any other organization have face-on information.
The 2014 Carifta Swimming Championships are scheduled to take place April 22nd through the 25th in Aruba, and rumor has it that neither our swim team or track and field team will have the luxury of using a Bahamas Air charter to their respective destinations this time around. And according to President of the Bahamas Swim Federation, Algernon Cargill, that means more money will need to be accounted for.
We are appealing to corporate Bahamas through our own fundraising sources to ask corporate Bahamas for help. The swimmers have done a remarkable job of representing the Bahamas over the last decade and beyond, and the only way they can do this is for corporate citizens to continue to support swimming. Unfortunately, we have the stereotype of being an elite sport, and that is so far from the truth and so unfortunate, because swimming is a sport that requires continuous effort and a significant commitment. For a swimmer to compete well at the Carifta Games, for example, 5:30 in the morning, when most of us are in our bed sleeping, they're in the pool, regardless of the weather, they're training. After school, they're back in the pool for another 2 hours. And when we have swimmers making this significant sacrifice, it is unfortunate that some may be denied the opportunity for finances. And so we're counting on not only corporate Bahamas, but the government to continue to support swimming. We do realize that times of financial times are changing, but in our view, the swimmers or the athletes should not be shortchanged, because if we don't spend the money today in developing young people, unfortunately, we'll have to pay it later in some other ways.
The 2014 Valentine's Catch Me If You Can Regatta was dubbed a smashing success, and most of the credit there has to go to the sailing barber, Eliezer Johnson.
There's people on the beach, people out in the boats, people all over the shore. I mean, what more could you ask for? He's doing single-handedly what, I mean, we had governments trying to do, we had individuals trying to do, and they can't do it.
Barber's the best. It's not like him. I can be honest. Barber, that's the best motto ever in the Bahamas. In order activity to draw the crowd, like Barber did. Nobody. Okay,
Mr. Johnson is one of the few guys at the age bracket now left around that are still promoting the regattas. You know, just the other day, the passing of the great man King Eric Gibson. So I applaud Barber J, you know, for trying to keep things together, getting people out to sail, and he's doing a very great job, and I hope that he continues as long as, you know, he's around.
Some of Canada's better athletes, past and present, have been in Exuma for more than a week now to celebrate the Winter Olympics and raise money for national team travel. Among those in town is Paralympic swimmer Benoit Huot, and he spoke about his proudest moment in the pool.
I would say the gold in London 2 years ago. I think the London Games were great. They did an amazing job, the British over there, and I had the privilege to carry the flag at closing ceremony for Canada at the 2012 Paralympic Games in London. So that was I think my greatest games.